was almost too late in the spring for Coltsfoot. Her back ached from bending, her hands hurt from twisting stems, and she had gone further into the forest than she meant. The river laughed just ahead of her sight. The sun had sunk behind. A felcher's daughter would never grow tall, nor carry the muscle of a day's work in the rye, but she could take care of herself. Besides, she was nothing much to look at, and 36. A double blessing, if only she worked out what the blessing was. Meantime, she held her hair off her neck for a moment's coolness, brushed her hands clean, and was not afraid of the woods. An arm was round her waist from behind, a light hand at her throat, and Malka found herself held and bent like a reed. "Honey, you shouldn't go so far. You never know who might be out here." "The worst people," she replied, and turned to face Hani Aptaker. She was pale and clever-mouthed, cut narrower than most of the boys she taught, and taller than Malka by head and shoulders. She looked elegant in a hat and capote, 200 years out of fashion. Her hands were always ink-speckled, and Malka felt a sweet, ridiculous fondness every time she... "Honey, no." Malka got a good look at her. "Not again." "Never mind it." Hani pushed her wrist over her wrecked cheekbone carelessly, as if she flicked off a fly. She was still wearing the clothes she taught in, walked in, and the men who came through Koshani in the Tsar's uniform would have seen not Hani, but Heskel, a thin enough bone to pick, and not quite worn down enough to be worth ignoring. "Never mind an eye like that?" Malka grit her teeth. "Did you fight back?" "Of course not much." "Love, what did they want from you?" "They seemed upset I wouldn't let go my book," Hani shrugged. "But I never learned to speak fluent idiot, so what do I know?" One of Hani's payas had been cut off, with a slow knife, or a dull one. She looked a little lopsided, a little ragged, and Malka felt fear dryness in her own throat. "Just give them what they want next time, please. Please." "I couldn't. Not this one. Read it," said Ani, and held out a plain, cloth-covered book, not larger than her hand. "You know I can't." "You can. That's just the point." It was printed in Yiddish. "Sefer Hey Yashar," Malka read. M-D-X-C? With the Latin alphabet, she was much slower, and she could not have sounded these letters into any word at all. 1592. So old. And in Yiddish? It must have been written for a woman. The light was fading, the tall grass and the river never silent, but Malka felt as though the two of them were standing in some long-ago woman's room, with books of her own and time to read them, time to think in her own language. Or by a woman, by someone like me. A half-grin shy made it past Hani's bruises. "I wanted to show it to you, before I sell it." "You could make your name from this." "I have a name," Hani clothed as Heskel shrugged. "I'd like other things more. I'd like to get us out of here before—" "Us," echoed Malka. "You work too much, and you study too long, and your girl never sees you." "You should be my wife." If I could. What's your plan, scholar?" There was no one here with them but the river. This was where they had always come, with secrets the village could not hold, and plans so wide only a river could believe them. "This," Honey topped the book where it lay tucked inside her shirt. "I'm taking it to Odessa." "Odessa," she said, as if she were not saying into hell or on to the moon. "You're walking there? Walk me home. I'm starving."